Welcome to the Real News. I am Oscar Leon. In part 1 of this special report, we review the struggle of 30,000 people from the Ecuadorian rainforest and their battle against Chevron, trying to get compensation for a series of oil spills that has allegedly caused massive ground and water contamination. Back in 2009, the documentary Crude was released to critical acclaim. It shed light on the legal struggle of the people of the Ecuadorian Amazon. The defendant, Chevron, appeared on the edge of being forced to pay 27 billion or more. In a tiny court in Ecuador, business publications over the world grapple with the precedent that the trial could have set for future environmental disaster cases around the world. Things were not looking good for the oil giant. Then, in September 2009, a video was released by Diego Borja and Wayne Hansen, two men claiming to be rainforest restoration contractors. The meeting shows a discussion regarding potential cleanup contracts should Chevron lose the lawsuit. Chevron claims the video shows Judge Juan Núñez and an Ecuadorian government official allegedly asking for bribes from the two contractors.
La sentencia sale y hay un ejecutor de esa sentencia. Entonces, la verdad que se fijan a la Chevron, bueno, ahora si ya se viste el juicio, paga. Y en ese caso, esa sentencia señor, tiene que haber una persona que va a ejecutar la sentencia. Y quien va a ejecutar se ha previsto que inclusive es el mismo gobierno americano. El gobierno americano de la vez se viste el juicio, paga. Paga.
In the second part of the video released by Borja, we see a different meeting, this time without the judge or the first government official present. A new man, we're told, is a government official, agrees to take money from Borja and deliver it to the judge. After 6 years overseeing the case, the judge had been gravely compromised and was forced to step aside. Just 2 months later, the man who recorded the video, Diego Borja, found himself the subject of a revealing recording. In November 2009, Santiago Escobar, former friend of Borja, came forward with a number of audio recordings. In the recording, Borja is heard bragging to his friend Escobar that this was a carefully planned scheme to undermine the judge, just weeks before the verdict of the then 17-year-old trial was to be declared. At the time, Diego Borja did not know he was being recorded, but his allegations about the trial and Chevron imply some very serious wrongdoing. Here are some crucial parts of the phone calls Escobar recorded.
Y Chevron siempre se mantuvo, se supone que independiente y mandó a analizar los análisis acá, se supone, ¿no es cierto? Pero yo sé que no es verdad.
¿Y dónde mandaron a analizar?
Solo hasta ahí nomás te puedo decir perno. Pero si me cachas.
Pero yo no te cacho, o sea, ¿cómo no es verdad? O sea, ellos no hicieron análisis, ellos simplemente ya sacaron un análisis que les favorecía a ellos.
¿Cómo te digo? Hicieron análisis, es como que yo hubiera hecho análisis de mi propia casa, algo así.
Ah, ya, o sea, mandaron a hacer laboratorios que eran vinculados a ellos.
Yo tengo las pruebas de que más que vinculados eran de ellos.
¿Cómo sabes de esto, güey? Eso no tiene por qué saber un empleado, loco.
Es que yo no soy solo un empleado, loco, o sea, yo, puta, ¿cómo te digo, loco? Por eso es que te digo, o sea, yo no puedo decir todo lo que yo hacía, pero es que yo no soy un empleado, yo nunca fui un empleado, o sea, yo te hablo de que yo no tenía jefes en Ecuador, weón, yo, todo a mí me llegaba de acá, ¿cachas? Por eso me vine de una CAF. Yo, claro, tengo que haber planificado yo todo, ¿cómo vas a ser así, loco? Tiene que planificar hasta para comprar el reloj y todas esas cosas, ¿no?
¿Qué pasa si te pasa algo a vos? O sea, ¿cómo te garantizas de que ellos te den, cachas? O sea, más de, porque ya te han dado ahora, pero que te den el resto, cachas.
O sea, no tengo ninguna garantía. O sea, no hay nada por escrito.
¿Y qué?
No hay ninguna garantía.
Tú puedes inclinar la balanza a cualquiera de los dos lados.
Claro, y para cualquiera de los dos lados. Imagínate todo lo que se inclinó ahorita. Lo que no han podido hacer en cuanto a 1 año y algo, le votaron al juez en cuanto a 3 días, 2 días. O sea, ya está así. Dependiendo, sin que haya investigación de por qué, de quién soy yo y todas las cosas. El momento que yo ratifique todo lo que ahí se va más para este lado. Si es que las cosas no salen bien, también se puede ir importa, pero así, totalmente. O sea, imagínate que hay un acto que, que prohíbe la corrupción para las empresas americanas y en cualquier otro país, ¿no es cierto?
Ya,
Si es que se comprueba un acto de corrupción para las empresas americanas o eso, no, le cierran aquí, a la empresa.
exacto.
Escobar then delivered to the Ecuadorian authorities phone conversation that he taped with Borja, through which the public learned that the supposed government official from the second meeting was actually a car salesman, that Borja himself has strong ties with Chevron, and that Wayne Hansen was not a restoration contractor, but a convicted drug trafficker. The Real News spoke with the whistleblower Santiago Escobar.
La oficina de él está ubicada en el edificio Borja Páez, que es de su tío, que era y es el encargado para la compra y venta de Chevron en el Ecuador. Eso dice Diego Borja, me conté en los audios. Además también alardeando en una discoteca de Quito, ahí ante todo el grupo que había hecho el mejor negocio de su vida, que le había filmado al juez Núñez y que sí le iba a llegar un montón de plata.
After this evidence was released, Chevron paid for Borja to leave Ecuador and set him up with a home near their California headquarters. The Ecuadorian government filed a petition to subpoena Borja in San Francisco, and in September 2010, Judge Edward Chen ordered Borja to appear in court to describe what he knows about the case. Borja didn't show, but his high-priced criminal defense lawyers did, including Cristina C. Arguedas, who represents high-profile clients such as Barry Bonds and Kobe Bryant. Chevron James Craig told The Real News that while Borja had worked with the company in the past, he was not under contract when he and Hansen filmed the meetings. Craig claims that the tapes are irrefutable proof of judicial misconduct.
Mr. Borja is a former contractor for Chevron who did logistical work associated with the judicial inspection phase of the trial. His work relationship with the company has ended before he and Wayne Hansen decided to videotape meetings with people claiming to represent the government and ruling Alianza País party with Juan Nuez prior to making the videotapes public, and out of concern for their safety, Chevron helped Mr. Borja and his family leave Ecuador and resettle in the U.S.
In papers filed with the Federal District Court in San Francisco, Borja's lawyers do not deny that he made the claims the oil giant cooked evidence. Instead, they argue the statements are not relevant to the international arbitration claim between Chevron and the government of Ecuador, which is the legal basis for the subpoena. In yet another legal battlefield in New York, Chevron submitted many key witnesses to discovery depositions, including the producer of the movie Crude and the plaintiff's main attorney, Stephen Dossinger. From the start, Dossinger has been one of the main engines behind this lawsuit, and now he's being accused by Chevron of falsifying expert reports and colluding with independent court appointees. Only days ago, Dossinger had to appear before a judge in New York. We spoke to Karen Hinton, a member of the plaintiff's lawyer's staff, about this. She thinks this is another one of Chevron's delay tactics.
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that Chevron does not deny that Texaco dumped over 18 billion gallons of oil and toxic formation water into the Ecuadorian rainforest. And we believe that as a result of that, the environment has been destroyed for the people who were living there in the former concession area. We believe their health has been damaged, and we believe people have died as a result. So one would think, given all of that the individuals living in the rainforest could have justice by now. And you're right, it's been 17 years. And the only answer I have for your question is to say that Chevron, Texaco, and now Chevron have worked very hard, and they certainly have the legal and financial resources to do this, to delay justice to the people who are living there for as long as possible.
I contacted Chevron to understand their perspective on the issue. Chevron's Latin America media advisor, James Craig, responded in an email that Texaco already restored the pits is responsible for back in 1995 at a cost of $40 million. He adds that
The two sides negotiated a settlement and release agreement signed in 1995, and Texaco Petroleum then proceeded to remediate its proportionate share of environmental liabilities at a cost of $40 million, the company remediated 162 pits and 6 spill areas, installed 7 injection systems for Ecuador, and provided more than $5 million to communities for social projects. After site-by-site verification of the remediated sites by state officials and experts of the Central University in Quito, the Ecuadorian government and Ecuador granted Texaco Petroleum and full and complete release of future liabilities. Ecuador, meanwhile, assumed responsibility for the balance of the remediation that was to have been performed and has failed to fulfill its obligations.
For the people of the Ecuadorian rainforest, this 18-year process appears to move in slow motion while they continue to drink the water.